It's the question people ask us all the time, especially this time of year. Is it going to snow? Well, we're going to try to pinpoint that for you right now, but it's impossible to tell you exactly how much or exactly when it's going to snow because anything beyond 7 to 10 days is kind of difficult with these seasonal forecasts. But we can use climatology and meteorology to give you a broad brush idea of what to expect this winter.
I'm meteorologist Chesley McNeil, and when looking at the upcoming trends, we tend to look beyond what's known as the 5, 7, or 10-day outlook. We look over in the waters in the Pacific Ocean. Here's the United States here, Pacific Ocean here near the equator, and when these waters are warmer or cooler, we go into a pattern that we typically tell you about as far as El Nino or La Nina. Well, an El Nino pattern would be when these waters are much warmer than average. La Nina would be the opposite, where the waters are much cooler, and each would have an effect on our weather in the southeast. This year, we're anticipating a neutral zone or neutral period or neutral phase where we're not going to have a La Nina or a El Nino. So what does that mean for the southeast? That means the southern jet would be moving over us where we'd have a wetter than average period. In fact, the 11 Live Storm Trackers have been studying a neutral pattern for the past 30 years. And here's what we found as far as its effects on us.
So we took a look at the last 30 years of data, especially during the neutral years. 70% of the time, we were warmer than average for the entire winter. So then we took a look at snow. 70% of the time, we saw at least some snow, but how much average or above average? Our average, what we usually get, is 2.1 inches from December through February. 50% of the time, we got at least 2.1 inches or more. So that's why we think it's a pretty good bet that we could see at least that average amount of snowfall this year.
Wild weather extremes are possible during a neutral phase because it allows other global circulation patterns to take control. We can go from being unseasonably warm one day to a cold Arctic blast moving in the next. And that can bring a wintry weather mess here to Atlanta if we happen to have some moisture around. The storm of the century, 1993, is when we had 4 inches of snow at the airport, feet of snow in the North Georgia mountains, motorists stranded all over town. It was known as a storm of the century, and it happened late in the season. Now, we can't guarantee a late season snowstorm this year, but in the neutral phase, we can expect the unexpected.
So with that background information, here's the summary of what we expect this winter season. So far, we think that we'll see temperatures that'll be just a little bit above the average. However, rainfall, we think will be a little bit above the average. Now, you would think that with slightly warmer than average temperatures and above average rainfall, that our snow chances would be on the low end. However, we're expecting at least average amounts of snowfall this year. In Atlanta, we average about 2.1 inches of snow for December, January, and also in February. And this is because of those swings that Samantha was telling you about there, that again, even though we think it's going to be slightly warmer than average over that 3-month period, we are still going to have some cold spells in there that will mix with these above average rainfall statistics, and that's why we think that we will have average snow for the year ahead.